The Battle of Britain took place between July and September 1940 as part of World War II. It was a crucial fight in which Britain defended itself from German air attacks. If Germany had won, Britain would have faced invasion, as German forces controlled nearby French ports. The battle ultimately ensured Britain's survival in the war. The Royal Air Force, RAF, played a decisive role in stopping German advances. Using superior tactics and technology, they resisted the Luftwaffe's attacks effectively. Germany launched air raids on Britain, hoping to break its defenses. German aircraft targeted military and industrial sites to weaken the country's ability to fight. The Luftwaffe had more bombers and fighters, but British radar and air defense strategies gave the RAF an edge. This allowed them to anticipate enemy moves. Pilots engaged in aerial battles, defending key locations. The intense dogfights were vital in preventing the German Air Force from gaining control over the skies. German bombers attacked cities, aiming to lower British morale. However, civilians remained resilient, and the RAF continued to push back against enemy fighters. The failure to weaken the Royal Air Force forced Germany to delay any invasion plans. Without air superiority, launching a land attack on Britain was impossible. The victory in the Battle of Britain marked a turning point in the war. Britain remained a strong opposition to Nazi Germany and continued resisting its military efforts. After the Dunkirk evacuation in mid-1940, Britain stood alone against Nazi Germany. France had fallen, leaving Britain as the last major resistance in Western Europe. Prime Minister Winston Churchill delivered his famous speech to Parliament, vowing Britain would never surrender. His words inspired the nation and strengthened its resolve. Despite Churchill's stance, Hitler initially believed Britain would seek peace. This assumption led him to delay any immediate invasion, focusing instead on diplomacy. The German victory in France had been swift, achieved through a strategy called blitzkrieg. This left Britain vulnerable to attack, facing the full force of German aggression. Churchill expressed his determination in his finest hour speech. He emphasized that the fate of Western civilization depended on Britain's ability to stand firm. While German leaders thought Britain would negotiate, Churchill's government refused. Preparations for defense continued, expecting a future German offensive. Hitler remained hopeful that Britain would recognize its weakness and accept German terms. This belief influenced Germany's early approach, delaying an outright assault. However, Churchill's conviction remained strong. Britain fortified its defenses, aware that German air superiority could bring about an invasion at any moment. While Britain prepared, the Luftwaffe was regrouping. There was a temporary lull, but both sides knew the battle for air dominance would soon begin. Hitler launched Operation Sea Lion, aiming to invade Britain after France fell. However, Germany faced obstacles. The army lacked proper training for landings, and no special ships were ready. Germany relied heavily on the Luftwaffe to weaken Britain's defenses. Air superiority was crucial for success. German generals feared the Royal Navy, making the invasion plan uncertain. Britain focused on strategic defense. The RAF's fighter command, equipped with radar, helped track enemy planes. This technology gave Britain a key advantage in the upcoming air battles. The Luftwaffe's Air Marshal Göring believed German air power could destroy the RAF. He aimed to control the skies before an invasion. However, the British defenses were stronger than expected. Radar stations along the coast provided early warnings of German attacks. The RAF organized squadrons efficiently, quickly responding to incoming threats, preventing German forces from gaining control. Germany also needed to secure supply routes for the invasion. The Royal Navy's dominance of the English Channel posed another problem, making uninterrupted transport of troops and equipment difficult. Despite early Luftwaffe attacks, Britain's defense remained strong. Fighter Command coordinated missions from underground bunkers, monitoring real-time enemy movements using radar, giving them a tactical edge. British pilot training and aircraft production increased. The Supermarine Spitfire and Hawker Hurricane became vital in defending the skies, proving effective against German bombers and fighters. Hitler postponed the invasion multiple times due to RAF resistance. Germany underestimated Britain's readiness. Weakened by losses, the Luftwaffe struggled to establish control over British airspace. The Battle of Britain began with German air attacks on British convoys and radar stations. These early strikes aimed to weaken Britain's defenses before a larger assault. By mid-August, German forces shifted their focus to RAF airfields and aircraft factories. Their goal was to destroy Britain's capacity to produce and repair fighter planes. Britain countered these attacks with a highly organized defense, using radar to detect incoming raids. This system allowed RAF pilots to respond quickly and effectively. Germany expected to gain air superiority by overwhelming RAF defenses. Their strategy involved relentless assaults aimed at exhausting British pilots and resources. Despite facing heavy losses, the RAF remained resilient. Pilots worked in rotation, and aircraft production continued, ensuring that Britain maintained a strong defense. The Luftwaffe underestimated Britain's ability to replace lost aircraft and pilots. This miscalculation weakened their offensive and gave Britain an advantage. Radar played a vital role in Britain's defense, detecting enemy flights before they reached their targets. This allowed RAF fighters to intercept attacks effectively. Germany targeted radar stations early in the battle, attempting to blind Britain's defenses. However, these attacks were not sustained enough to disable the system. The survival of radar stations ensured that British forces remained well informed about enemy movements, a key factor in resisting the Luftwaffe's attacks. A mistaken German bombing of London led Britain to strike back at Berlin. This unexpected attack angered Hitler, pushing him to change Luftwaffe targets. Instead of focusing on RAF bases, Germany shifted to bombing London and other cities. This decision reduced pressure on British air defenses significantly. The Blitz began with relentless night bombings on London. For 57 nights, the Luftwaffe launched major attacks, aiming to weaken British morale and infrastructure. German bombings extended beyond London, targeting cities like Coventry and Liverpool. These attacks caused destruction, but did not break British resistance. Despite heavy bombings, citizens adapted by using underground shelters. The government maintained order, ensuring essential services and wartime production continued. The shift in strategy allowed the RAF to recover and defend effectively. Without constant attacks on airfields, British fighters remained strong against German bombers. The Blitz lasted for months, but it failed to achieve its goal. German bombings continued, yet Britain's military and civilians remained determined to fight. By mid-September, the RAF had regained control of the skies. German bombers suffered high losses, weakening their ability to continue sustained attacks. Germany eventually shifted to night raids on industrial targets. While destruction continued, the Luftwaffe never gained air superiority over Britain. Britain's victory in the Battle of Britain forced Hitler to reconsider his invasion plans. The Luftwaffe suffered heavy losses, failing to secure air superiority. With the Royal Air Force proving its capability, Operation Sea Lion was postponed indefinitely. By mid-September, it became clear that Germany could not win the air battle. On October 12th, Hitler officially canceled the operation. Instead, Germany shifted its focus elsewhere, changing the course of the war in Europe significantly. The failure to defeat Britain marked a major strategic setback for Germany. Without control of British skies, a successful invasion was impossible to achieve. Britain's defense not only ensured its survival, but also strengthened its position as a major opponent against Nazi Germany's expansion in Europe. The battle demonstrated the effectiveness of radar, well-organized command structures, and the determination of RAF pilots, who became national heroes. The Luftwaffe's inability to dominate British airspace weakened its overall strength. German aircraft losses outpaced production, affecting later battles. By shifting focus to bombing cities, Nazi Germany failed to break Britain's resilience. Instead, civilian morale remained high, despite the hardships of war. This outcome influenced future conflicts, proving that air battles could determine the course of wars. The world saw Britain as a stronghold against Nazi aggression. Britain's victory in the Battle of Britain marked a turning point in World War II. The German Luftwaffe failed to gain air superiority, forcing Hitler to cancel invasion plans. The Royal Air Force's success was due to efficient strategies, advanced radar systems, and the dedication of its pilots. German losses were severe, weakening their air strength significantly. By mid-September, it was clear that Britain would not be defeated from the air. This ensured the country remained a base for further Allied operations against Nazi Germany. Hitler had expected Britain's resistance to weaken, but the determination of the RAF and civilians proved otherwise. Their resilience inspired other nations to resist Nazi rule. The postponement of Operation Sea Lion showed Germany's inability to dominate Britain. This forced them to shift their focus to the Eastern Front against the Soviet Union. The failure of the Luftwaffe made Britain a stronghold for the Allies. This allowed continuous resistance against Germany, leading to critical events like D-Day in 1944. Britain's success demonstrated the value of air power in modern warfare. It showed that control of the skies could determine the outcome of major conflicts. The battle proved that technology and strategy could overcome numerical disadvantages. Britain's use of radar and defended airfields effectively countered German attacks. While the victory did not end the war, it shifted momentum. It gave the Allies confidence that Nazi Germany could be defeated through determined resistance. The Royal Air Force, RAF, achieved an important victory in the Battle of Britain, preventing Germany from gaining air superiority. British pilots relied on advanced aircraft and radar systems. Germany's Luftwaffe had more aircraft, but lacked strategic planning. Britain's defensive tactics, including coordinated fighter squadrons, allowed them to counter German attacks effectively. The resilience of British pilots, combined with superior strategies, weakened Germany's air campaign. Eventually, the Luftwaffe suffered heavy losses, forcing Hitler to cancel invasion plans. The RAF used Spitfires and Hurricanes to defend British skies against German bombers. These aircraft provided excellent speed and maneuverability, essential for air combat at the time. British radar technology gave early warnings of air raids, allowing the RAF to deploy forces quickly. This made it harder for the Luftwaffe to carry out surprise attacks on key military targets. Because of their defensive capabilities, Britain managed to sustain its air force despite losses. German forces struggled to maintain pressure and saw a decline in their operational success. After failing to defeat the RAF, Germany shifted focus to bombing cities in the Blitz. This decision reduced attacks on military targets, giving Britain time to rebuild its air strength. Civilians endured devastating bombings, yet Britain's spirit remained strong. The Luftwaffe's shift to civilian targets meant the RAF could recover and better prepare for future engagements. By mid-September, it became clear Germany could not gain control of British airspace. Hitler consequently postponed and later abandoned Operation Sea Lion, his planned invasion of Britain.